Good morning. Thank you all for being here. So this is the Permian Road Safety Coalition's luncheon meeting here in Andrews. Today we have a truck from Rowdy Resources. They were kind enough to bring this truck out here to give us use as a prop for a tool to demonstrate a level 2 inspection. So we have our CVE, Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Troopers, here this morning. These are the guys that are out there every day, the boots on the ground, that are doing these inspections roadside, that pull these unsafe vehicles and unsafe drivers off of our roadways. Here we have Trooper Lance Bellis, and he's going to demonstrate this inspection, and I'll be out beside him. If we have any questions, if you see anything, if you have anything that your company says, hey, we get dinged on this a lot, what can we do about this? Or is there something that you're seeing roadside out there that we can prevent before it comes out on the road? Remember, that's what we want at the end of the day. We want these vehicles to leave the yard safe. We want you to prioritize safety every morning. That way when that truck goes out on the roadway, it's already clean, so to speak, as a clean inspection instead of an inspection with violations. Remember, every violation is a point against your profile, and those points add up over time. And I've had companies tell me, look, if I'm going to do business with a company, I'm looking at that company's profile. If that company's profile score is a 40 and this other company's an 88, which company am I hiring? I'm hiring the company with the lower profile score. So not only does it affect your insurance, it can also affect your job opportunities, your employment opportunities for your company. So we'll get started here today.
Okay, so what we're going to do is, so the first step is, and what I would encourage all of you to ask your drivers for us, if you would please. So when we get behind you and we stop you, it's okay for you to go down the road for a little bit and find a nice spot. Because do you want to be out on the side of the road right on the fog line with us? Yes, your driver might be upset that we're stopping them, but you know, that's the business we're in, right? So let's all be home, let's all go home at the night, let's all be safe, okay? So if you have that and you can talk to your drivers, your supervisors, your company men, let them know. Get these drivers smart enough to push off to the side of the road so we can actually inspect them, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do, we activated our lights, we're behind him, we're gonna do what we call the driver approach. So we're gonna come up to the driver. So what we're gonna do is I would approach him, his engine would be running, I'd have him open his door, so driver, open your door. And the reason we do that is there is one inspection item on our inspection, that is they have to be able to open their door, okay? Not us opening it from the outside or him leaning outside to open it, okay? Because in the case of an emergency, he has to be able to open this door, okay? Make sense, okay? All right, so then I would get up on the running board and I would ask him, I need to see his paperwork and his driver's license. Inform him that he's doing a DOT inspection, and then I would inform him to that, and I'd have him turn his engine off so that he can hear, and my camera can hear what he's saying, all his answers, okay? So let me see your paperwork and let me see your driver's license. So usually, these are the good ones, is when they have these books. Unfortunately, and not beating people up, but unfortunately we see a lot of companies out here that it looks like your child's backpack after class. Okay, all the parents in the audience, okay, you know what I'm talking about, okay? And we ask for paperwork and they're like, well, I don't know what that is, I don't know what that is. If you can get your DOT managers to make books like this, it's the easiest thing in the world, and it makes the inspection go a lot smoother when we're looking for stuff, okay? Because if I ask him for annual inspections, if I ask him for his cab cards, if I ask him for his registration, so all of those things we need to see roadside. Yes, before you ask, yes, there are some things that we can check, but it makes it easier if you have it roadside, okay? What checking does is if you have something you're carrying that's expired, then we're gonna give you that benefit by we're gonna look for it to see if it's actually current, okay? But please have these books, okay? So his driver's license, what we're gonna look for is his driver's license, okay? We're gonna look first off what he's hauling, okay? And does he have the proper endorsements? Does he have the proper class of license? Is it an out-of-state license, okay? I'm sure all of y'all have seen CDLs, okay? We're not gonna get down into the weeds on it, but what I'm looking for is to make sure that he has a Class A CDL. Then I'm gonna ask him, is this his current address? Is this your current address?
Yes.
Okay, so how often do you go back to California?
Maybe once every 3 months.
Once every 3 months, okay? So he resides in California and he's traveling back home, okay? So he's allowed to work out here. Now, what we get a lot of roadside is, where do you live? I live in Odessa. How long you lived in Odessa? 2 years. Okay, state law, if you don't reside in the state that you have a license in, okay, you only have 30 days to change to a Texas CDL. If you don't do that, that places your driver out of service. So that's very important. Sergeant talked about points. Out of services are big points, okay? You don't want that, all right? So make sure you're paying attention to your drivers and their license. You're checking them, okay? And just because the insurance company says he can drive, that's not necessarily true, okay? You need to start talking to, what is it, Query Central? You can get on Query Central, Clearinghouse. You can check your drug, alcohol websites. Make sure, because just because the insurance company says, hey, he can drive a truck, and then we get roadside and he's suspended for some reason from the feds, he's out of service. Okay, and that's for you and your company to debate with the federal or with the feds, okay? All right, so the next thing, once I go through his paperwork, we're good. I'm gonna have him start his truck, okay? I'm gonna have him start his truck, so go ahead and start your truck. It's gonna get loud, so you're not gonna be able to, we need to do it, and I wanna show y'all. If y'all come around here, you can see what we're doing up here.
Come on in. Go start up.
Okay, so once I've got him doing this, I'm gonna ask him how much air pressure he has, okay? Optimal is we want him to have 120 PSI before we start any of this, okay? So we want him to have 120 PSI. So how much air do you have?
About 110.
Okay, 110, 120. All right, go ahead. Now I'm gonna ask him to press and hold his brake. Press and hold your brake. What I'm looking for here is his air gauge needs to be able to maintain, okay? So his compressor on the truck should be able to hold that air. He's gonna lose a little, but it should maintain, shouldn't drop. If it continues to drop and then the low air warning goes up, that's an out of service condition. We call that low air warning. Excessive air loss. Thank you, sorry. Excessive air loss, okay? So go ahead and release. Now, the next step is once I know he's holding air, I'm gonna have him pump his brakes. What I'm looking for when he pumps his brakes is that the low air warning comes on, okay? That is the no low air warning, okay? That is also an out of service condition. Okay, so go ahead and pump your brakes down.
Yeah, release my...
No, just pump your brakes. Okay, so you're either gonna hear a solid beep, you're gonna hear a beeping, or you're gonna see a light, okay? It can be audio and it can be visual, okay? There's no such thing as that, but what I always tell drivers is you can have a deaf driver, you can't have a blind driver, right? So we probably want to at least see something visual, okay? All right, now then I'm going to have him do his windshield wipers. So turn your windshield wipers on, okay? Then I'm going to ask him to use his windshield washing fluid, okay? All right, you can stop it. Now he's going to honk his horn. We don't care if it's the upper horn or the city horn. It doesn't matter, just as long as they've got a horn, okay? So go ahead and honk your horn, okay? Once that's done, I'm going to explain to him the lights, what I'm doing with the lights. Okay, when I point up in the air, it's going to be his high beam. I point down, it's going to be his low beam. Left, right, flashers are your hazards. Brake will be a closed fist. And then I'm going to tell him to do this in reverse. He puts it in gear, but he does not back up. Okay? You understand all this? That's good? All right. Okay, so while I'm out here in front, if y'all come around here, I'll show you what we're talking about. So I'm also, while I'm doing the lights, I'm looking at the front of his vehicle. I'm trying to make sure that everything that's supposed to work on the front of the vehicle. So he's supposed to have a bumper. Yes, he's supposed to have a bumper. Okay? Not half a bumper, not 3/4 of a bumper, but a full bumper that covers the front of both tires. Okay? Has to cover the treads of both tires. Okay? Looking for his ID lamps and his clearance markers, which is the 5 lights that are on top. Okay? He can have more lights, but he's at a minimum, he's got to have those 5. Okay? So we call it permitted lighting, required lighting. The required lighting is what we're inspecting roadside. So if your guy has like 100 lights on the front, because that's what truck drivers do, they go down to AutoZone and they buy all the lights on the shelf when they get paid. And they stick them all over their truck. We don't care if one of those is burned out, as long as it's not a required light. Is that clear? Everybody understand that? Okay? So then we're going to move down. We're going to look at his front tire. Okay, we're looking for the tread on the tire. We're also checking the lug nuts. A lot of trucks have these caps on them. Okay, we're not pulling these caps off roadside, okay? All right, we're checking the hub, making sure it's got a hub cap, all of that, okay? Then we're moving on. We're checking the tire pressure. We'll just kick them usually. All right, we're making sure that the hood latch is latched. I don't know if they did that prior to this, but if it wasn't latched, that is a violation. Okay, if you don't have your hood latched, it is unsecured hood. Okay, we're moving down. We're checking the fuel caps. They have to have fuel caps. Every truck has to have a fuel cap. If they have 2 saddle tanks, they're required 2. Even if it's not their primary tank, they have to have 2. Okay? We get to the back of the truck, the back of the cab. So the back of the cab, what we're looking for is what we call our retroreflective tape, or DOT tape is what we call it. Okay? The DOT tape has to be white up in the uppermost corners of the truck. And I need to stress this to all of the oil field. Okay? I've always wanted this platform, so I want to have an opportunity to say this. Okay? White is upper, red and white is lower. White is upper, red and white is lower. And the reason I say that, hey, go ahead and turn your truck up. Reason that I say that is what we see all the time is red and white on the top portion of these L's. Okay? And that is a violation. Yes, you have DOT tape. I get it. It's reflective. Good job. It has to be white. Okay? It does not. So if y'all can all swing around, you see the back of this cab when we come walking by, just take a look at it for me. But you see where he's got it in the upper top corners. That's perfect. That's where we want it. That's where we want it. Okay? Now, if we have it down here where all these rivets are, that's not the uppermost corner. It doesn't meet that requirement. It's not the uppermost corners, okay, of the back of the cab. Now, the red and white tape has to be 50% along the sides of the trailer, okay? So 50% of the trailer has to have it. So this here, great job. He's definitely got it lit up. Because if you've never seen one of these trucks with their lights off and you're approaching them without headlights, you don't see this, okay? Believe it or not, you don't see it until you're about 50 feet away from it, and then hopefully you got your brakes serviced, because you're either going to go under it or into it. So with the tape, you'll be able to see them almost like 200 yards away with the red and white tape, okay? So if it's perfect, if it's reflective, it's going to reflect, okay? So we go back up here. We're looking at the connections on these trailers, okay? So these are what we call glad hands, okay? So one is emergency, one is service. Then he has an electrical cable, okay? We're having him press and hold his brake. We won't do it here, but we'll have him press and hold his brake. We're grabbing hold of this and we're trying to see if we can hear air, okay? If we can hear air, we have a leak at connections, what we call it. If it's on this side or the hose side, that's an out of service condition, okay? So if I got a leak in hose under this spring or on this hose anywhere, that's an out of service condition, okay? Do that on both of them. You're checking his plug. Don't unplug his plug. We don't unplug the plug like a lot of drivers think we do, so we get more violations. We really don't. We have more to do with our lives than that. So then we're going to go down. We're going to check his tandems. Okay, so we're doing the same thing we did on the front. We're kicking the tires. We're looking for flats. Okay. So if after doing this a long time or for a while, we know what a flat tire is. Okay, we can kick it. It'll vibrate. They shouldn't move. If you kick this, there should be no wobble in that tire. But unfortunately, a lot of times roadside, we'll kick it and it just wobbles like jello. Okay, well then we automatically go back to our unit, we get an air gauge, and we test the air pressure. If the tire pressure, so let's say this tire is 120, yeah, so it's 120 PSI is the max air pressure of that tire. So if it's below 60, that's an out of service condition. Okay, so he's out of service, all right? A lot of drivers carry the air hoses with them. We'll allow them to fix it roadside, and then we'll put them back in service. They'll gain operating authority again and go back into service, okay? So if you have drivers and they don't have air hoses, that might be something you buy for your end of your year budget to make sure that they have air hoses, okay? So now we're at the back. As we were walking back, are your lights on? Okay, as we're walking back, we're looking at all the lights, okay? So he has to have a side marker lamp. Okay, we get back here to the back. All right, so we're gonna have him go ahead and start it now because you're gonna need it for reverse. So it's gonna be the same thing that you saw plus brakes to the rear now, okay? Okay. Then reverse. Okay, so what we did, and there's a lot of people that this is a misunderstanding, okay? So if I have a light that's out on this truck, okay, if I have a light that's out on this truck, all right, it's a violation as long as it's got a trailer. If it does not have a trailer and it's missing a turn signal, say it's running bobtail, okay? All y'all that know what bobtail is, so it's running bobtail. All right, if it doesn't have that turn signal, that's an out-of-service condition. The trail vehicle or the end of the vehicle that is seen by us has to have all the lights working on the back, okay? So that will put you out of service if you don't have turn signals. Now, if you are missing one brake lamp, you're only required one brake lamp. So it's a violation, but it's not an out of service. Reverse lamp, you have to have a reverse lamp. Okay, there's a lot of oil field companies out here that they have what they call working lamps. So they put their work lamps up on the back of their cabs, right? And I have caught this several, probably 24 times. We'll tell them to put it in reverse. They'll reach up on the dash and they'll hit the white light to the rear. That's not a reverse lamp. Okay, once you put it into reverse, the light should come on. Not you put it in reverse, then turn my light on. That's not how it was intended, okay? So if you've got drivers or you've got trucks or contractors that are working for you and you know they're doing that, you need to fix it, because all it's going to do is just be a violation when we catch it, okay? So then we continue to move back. Like I said, we would be looking for the retro. We're also looking for any cracks in the frame. We're going through making sure that the flange aren't cracked. We're moving all the way back until we get to the back here. Now you should have a center side marker lamp because this trailer is over 30 feet, okay? So he's required one on the front, one in the center, and one on the rear, okay, for side marker. All right, so same thing, we're gonna kick the tires, make sure they're good. Okay, we're gonna check the lug nuts. A good telltale, if you're a safety person, and there's a good way to test your lug nuts to know, other than just like reaching down and testing each one, right? When you look at your lug nuts, if they're loose or have been loose, you'll see like soot or like water, like on your windshield, coming off the lug nut all along the rim, out from that lug nut hole or that. So from right here, it'll be marking that rim out somewhere along that, and you'll see it'll be a streak. Okay, that's a telltale sign that a lug nut might be loose or had been loose. Okay, so have your drivers pay attention to that, have them check it. Okay, if you have 2 side by side or 3 anywhere on a 10 lug nut wheel, you're out of service. Okay, so again, make sure we pay attention to it. So now we've moved back, now we're at the ABS lamp. Okay, so ABS, okay, anti-braking system. Okay, so all your trailers manufactured after 1997, all trailers manufactured after 1997 have to have an ABS lamp. Okay, it is very specific. Okay, it's not just a yellow lamp. Okay, that's what we see a lot of. Okay, it has to be marked. If you'll look on his lamp here, he has ABS. Usually they put a sticker. There's a sticker usually. This guy probably doesn't have room for it, but there's a sticker that says anti-braking system. Okay, and that's a go. Now, if it's just a yellow lens back here, yes, we know it's an ABS lamp, probably most likely violation. Okay, it's a violation. Do it if you're going to do it correctly. Okay, side marker lamp. So amber, red. Colors are important. Okay, amber, red. Anything to the rear of the vehicle has to be red. Cannot be amber. Hey, all I got's amber lenses. I'm going to stick them in there. We're going to run down the road a couple of days till I get some red lenses in. Then you're going to run down the road and run into me, and then you're going to get a violation. Okay? So understand that. All right? It's there for a reason. Okay? Now, we get to the rear. Go ahead and turn. You're going to do the same signals. Right? Oh. Right? No, I just told him right. Yeah. Okay, good example. Everybody come around here. Everybody to the back. Okay, so the truck is right. The truck is flashing right. Everybody, if you walk back, you can see it. The trailer is not. Out of service condition. Roadside. This is out of service condition. Okay? It has to work. Okay? Everybody understand that? Okay? 4 ways. 4 ways. Again, it's another required lamp, okay? It's not working, okay? Brake. Brakes are working, okay? So on this truck, okay, you're gonna have a right turn signal, you're gonna have a right hazard lamp as a violation, as of right now, okay? One is an out of service condition, okay? So again, it's important with the points, right? We're talking, that's what we're worried about our profile, right? That's why everybody wants to do this, everybody wants to learn how to do it right, okay? You're also gonna look up here at the top, you're also required to have 3 ID lamps at the top of the trailer, or it can be in the center of the trailer, here, okay? Whatever your manufacturer designed, okay? 3 red lights. This is one of my favorites, is a license plate lamp, okay? If you drive down the road, you're gonna see a lot of trailers where the license plate lamp is at the bottom of the plate. That is a violation, okay? It is required to be at the top or the sides of the plate only. Top or sides only, okay? Anything over 80 inches, all right? Now, you're gonna go down to this side, and y'all can just swing around, everybody can follow. It's gonna be basically the same thing we did on the right, or the driver's side. So everything is the same going down this direction, okay? Okay, so this would be one of the last steps that we do with the truck, okay? So this is where, we got a lot of people still. Go ahead and turn it off. Okay, so this is one of the last steps that we're gonna do with the truck when we're doing our inspection roadside, okay? So what we would normally do, the truck would be running, okay? We're gonna mark the pitman arm. This is what we call the pitman arm, okay? You can see the circle inside there. If you come around, you can see what I marked, okay? We're gonna have him rock his steering wheel, okay? As he's rocking his steering wheel, there should be no movement. Those chalk lines should not move apart. We should not be able to check or be able to see any movement between those chalk lines. Okay, go ahead and rock your wheel. Okay, so he's got a good pitman arm, okay? So that's, if that moved, that's an out of service condition, okay? Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mark his brakes. So we're gonna get on the push rod all the way as flush against the brake chamber, which this is a brake chamber. Y'all are more than welcome to look at it once I'm done, all right? Yes, DOT troopers do carry rulers, okay? Just in case some of y'all wanna data cue us because we didn't have a ruler, we have them. All right, so then we're gonna have him press and hold the brake. So press and hold his brake. We're gonna get the measurement. So he's got a 1.5 inch on a 24 long. He's good to go. And then we would do the exact same thing on the right side, okay? Then after that, we would check his fire extinguisher and warning triangles. Do you have those?
Real quick, we had a question from a gentleman in the audience about the fire extinguisher. So the fire extinguisher does not have to be in a certain spot in the truck. It has to be accessible. The driver needs to know where it is. That's part of the pre-trip inspection. So when we're roadside and the driver, we ask him for his fire extinguisher and triangles, and he's walking around the truck looking for them, what does that tell us?
You don't know where they're.
He doesn't know where they are. He didn't do a pre-trip. Now the fire extinguisher must be secured to the vehicle. You just can't toss it in there where it's rolling around the floorboard. It has to be secured. It can be either in a clamp or bracket system, or you can block and brace it inside of a box, but it's got to be secured to the vehicle.
Okay, so anybody have any questions about what they've seen, ask them now, because there's one other thing I'm gonna cover, and then I'll be done. And then I'll talk to the safety guy, and okay, what do you got, sir?
I got a question. The pre-check is not mandatory. That's internal, right? Only the
It's internal.
Right?
I'm not gonna sit roadside and ask you for your pre-trip. Okay. But, like Sarge just said, if I ask you for a fire extinguisher and you take 5 minutes to find it, that tells me you didn't do one. So now what happened, right? Now I went from, okay, this is DOT, this is an all right company, to, okay, now I'm gonna dig into you, because now there's probably something wrong, right? Because you're not doing a pre-trip, okay?
How do you work with companies if they get it out of service? Do they send folks out and getting them back on the road? What's that process like?
So that process is we'll put you out of service. We'll safely put them out of service at a location where they're off the road, they're not in danger. They'll call a mechanic. Once you get it fixed, this is the big boy. So this is the adult industry, okay? So we're not going to sit there and wait for you to put him back into service. But you have 15 days on an inspection report. There's a block at the bottom if you've been placed out of service before or not. There's a block. The mechanic has to sign, and the DOT carrier official has to sign. You have 15 days to submit that you fixed whatever we found out of service to Austin at the Motor Carrier Bureau, okay? Once you've done that, they take you off the naughty list. Now, let me stress something, okay? Last thing, let me stress this. Out of service is out of service until you get it fixed. Reporting is 15 days. Not 15 days to fix it. Fix it, you're back in service, 15 days to report it. Everybody understand that? Pass that along, please, because we get a lot of drivers that tell us, oh, well, I have 15 days. No, you don't. You had to fix it roadside, because now you're violating an out-of-service condition. And that's a lot more that we won't go into weeds. Yes, sir.
Tinted windows.
I'm about to talk about it.
Okay.
Do you want, yes. So, tinted windows, so he got what the last thing I'm going to talk about. So go ahead and roll your window up halfway. Okay, 393.60, if you want to know where I'm looking, where I'm finding this, is window tint. FMCSR, not state law. State law, for truck tractors, they are exempt under state law, but we don't enforce state law on truck tractors. If I'm a DOT, I'm enforcing it DOT standard, okay? 70%. If you don't know what 70% is, that's when they rolled it off the, what is this, a Peterbilt? What? Freightliner. When they rolled off the Freightliner assembly line, it was at 70%. So if he sticks anything on the window, it's automatically going to be a violation, okay? So if we see it, we get them. We've got two types of window tint measuring devices. We have this one, which can fit over the side of this glass here. And then we have one where we like the drivers when they tell us, oh, I can't roll my window down. Well, we got something for that too. They come apart and then we can just put them on the glass. So please tell them just follow the rules. So he has 28%. If I was inspecting this truck roadside, this is a citation. Okay? Everybody understand that? 70.
Real quick on window tint. That applies to the front two vehicles. So if you, the front two windows of the vehicle. So if you have a hot shot, your typical 1-ton F350, he can tint the back windows, but the front two windows have to be 70%. And also you cannot tint the windshield. You'll see that a lot also. Folks tinting the windshield. That's
if you do the 393.60, it will tell you left, right, and front of driver. Has to be 70% on a commercial motor vehicle while in commerce. Yes, sir.
Out-of-state driver's license, is that a red flag to y'all when
No.
he started?
No.
Okay.
No, that's not a red flag. I mean,
No different procedure? No
we're all equal opportunity out here, so that's fine.
How about international?
Okay. What do I got? Okay, so I did a PowerPoint for this class, okay? So let me tell you, so there's no such thing as an international driver's license. Okay, first off and foremost, anybody who calls it that, it's not an international driver's license. It's either a Canadian driver's license, an American CDL, or a Mexican CDL, okay? Now, Mexican CDLs, if you have drivers that work for you and they're using Mexican CDLs, they must have an authorized work visa. Authorized work visa. If they do not have it, we catch them roadside, out of service, okay? If they're Cuban, if they are Guatemalan, if they're Ecuadorian, they can have a Mexican CDL that's only valid in Mexico, okay? Because it's what we call a non-domiciled Mexican CDL. They cannot drive in the United States with it, even if they have work authorization. So if you have those employees working for you, time to clean house. Get them to get a Texas CDL. Everybody understand that? And if you have to look that up and you want to know where we're getting that, and for all those that think it was Texas that made that, that is a federal law. Texas decided to enforce September 1st of 2023. It's called House Bill 4337 if you want to look it up. But that is what it tells you. Valid work authorization. So as long as they can get a Texas non-domicile and we're good to go. We're fine with that, okay? I'm sure everybody who deals with the non-domiciled drivers with the Mexican CDLs or anybody like that, everybody understands that the work authorization, what we mean by work authorization, okay? I-94, visas, work visas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? You need to enforce it because we're enforcing it roadside, okay? We're enforcing it roadside, I promise you, okay? And it is an out-of-service condition, okay? It is an out-of-service. We will put your driver out of service, okay? And Well, never mind. I digress. Just don't worry about it. Just understand that BP might get involved.